We move from the world of donuts into IT with our next speaker. Brad Johnson is the proud owner of My Local IT Guy. He's husband, father, and recent granddad. Now, Brad was introduced to the IT world while servicing the hair and beauty industry with what was a revolutionary booking POS system, and it still is today. Brad recognised the need for all businesses and the impact of the right system and IT support can have on them. The metamorphosis from hair and beauty to MLITG took about 16 and a half years ago, with great staff support. Now he looks after small to medium-sized businesses, placing importance on the security through business-grade antivirus and password management, backup, phone systems, and IT solutions, all while speaking to the owners and staff in their own language. Brad and the team give IT support freely to Chamber of Commerce, Cap Rescue, and the Shelter Collective, all integral parts of their community. Now, owning your own business is like a roller coaster, sometimes full of highs and lows, but damn, the ride is worth it. And he's going to take us on that ride right now. Please welcome Brad Johnson.
Thank you.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, thank you. Okay, all right, I just want to start. Actually, Jason, can I have you come forward for a minute, if that's possible?
Is that forward enough?
No, up here. Oh, no. When I've not done this sort of thing for a long time, and I remember being told that you need to imagine the audience being naked. So
You just want me out of the
yeah,
way?
no, that's why I wanted you here. So if everyone can focus on Jason for a moment, and it's definitely ZZ top and ZZ bottom, isn't it? Thanks, Jason.
Later.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, I actually don't like the term small business because it's business. No matter, small business tends to give the implication that you're only doing little things. And no matter whether you're an individual owner or you've got a massive team and you've got a massive staff, business is business. And I struggle to work with the term small because it's a 24/7 commitment as an owner of a business. I started many years ago working for a company called Schwarzkopf doing hair care repping, and that's my last time, well, no, it's not my last time working as an employee, but it was when I had the passion to go out and do something for myself. And I was based in Townsville. They moved myself here to Rockhampton. I just met my lovely wife and convinced her to come and stop what she was doing and come and join me in Rockhampton. And that was back in the late 80s. We were working for Schwarzkopf. I was working for Schwarzkopf, and they decided they then, after 6 months, wanted to move me back to Townsville. And I didn't want to go. I did enjoy it here in Rocky, and I saw an opening for a hair and beauty wholesaling company to start here. There was nothing between Townsville and Brisbane at the time. So we set up a business called BJ's Hair and Beauty, and we started servicing the hair and beauty industry locally. We expanded as far south as Maryborough and up to Darwin and everything in between. And that was a real learning curve for me because I had never really been in business for myself before. I wasn't a hairdresser, but I learned very quickly that you may not necessarily have the technical skills, but technical skills is only the part of a business. It's a very important part, but it's just as important to be able to communicate, to understand, to find solutions. And my old boss at Schwarzkopf said to me, if you don't know, don't make it up, find out for people. And if you can find out what it is they need and you can supply an answer, then you're a very valuable asset to them and their business. So I've taken that approach ever since then to sort of focus on what people need and how I can help them. Now, if I can't do the job, I can find someone that can do the job. So I've always really taken that as my approach to how I deliver what we deliver. So we went for many years doing hair and beauty wholesaling for businesses. Now, hairdressing was a very egotistical industry. When I say egotistical, I mean people were very brand orientated, very locked into certain things that they believe passionately about. So I suppose probably passionate is probably a better description of the industry, very passionate. And if they believed that something was good, they stuck with it. So it was a very hard industry to convince people to do other things. But I took the approach that, and some people didn't like this, but I was selling soap in a bottle. At the end of the day, it washed hair and they conditioned, and that was the base formula of what we were doing. But then I learned too that those businesses like to do marketing. They like to do all sorts of different things within their business that, well, they might not like doing it, but they had to do it. And I found my strength in sort of trying to fill those gaps for people. I can remember working with the hair salons, trying to promote lots of seminars. We'd bring people out from the States and Australia and all over, and trying to get people to come to these events isn't easy. And one of the things that we did to try and encourage people, and you've got to stand out, you've got to be a little bit different. So this was back in the day when coffee bags first came out. I think you can still get them today. And we did up a letter to all of the clients and sent it out, but we attached a coffee bag to each of the letters and started the letter by saying, look, sit down, you deserve a coffee. And these were a new thing and they were a bit trendy at the time. And we sent those out to all the salon owners to sit down and have a coffee, and had a huge success. But I can still remember the smell in our office of putting this stuff all together. It was phenomenal, just the coffee everywhere. And I think since then I've sort of, fallen in love with coffee and can't stop drinking coffee. Okay, so from there, we were involved with the hairdressing industry, and then we had a company come along that was starting a new product which was designed for hairdressers to try and make their life easier, and that was a computer program called Shortcuts. And it was designed in Brisbane, in the back of a hairdressing salon down there, and one of the companies we were associated with saw the potential of this program. It was the very first Windows-based program for hairdressing salons. Up until then, they're all DOS-based and very not user-friendly, whereas this was designed with hairdressers in mind. It was designed as a kinesthetic program. It was with touchscreens, with big pictures and lots of things like that. So it was very revolutionary in its day for what it could do. And we got on board with that because I just thought, wow, this is going to help salon owners. Like, you can keep pumping shampoo into their salons, but at the end of the day, it's just shampoo. But if you can show them a way that they can help themselves, and rather than work with opinion, work with fact. Because I would go into a business, how's business? Oh, look, been flat out, been crazy busy. But what's the end of the day like? What's the end of the month like? Well, we're squeaking by. So they weren't able to accurately tell me what was their business what was their income being generated from. They just had an opinion of what they were doing. So we started putting the computers in, and it was able to give them facts about their business. It was able to show them that they're putting a mile of energy into haircuts, but they're not doing so much in the services side where there's more money, because haircuts are very labour intensive. You can only do one haircut at a time. But if you're doing services like colouring or perming or those sort of perming, remember perms? Wow. If you're doing those things, then you can be doing multiple things at one time while something's processing, so it can be more cost effective and making more out of it. So I found that computers were very valuable, but I also learnt that they're only as good as the information you put in and what you did with them. I had a lot of people that thought, if I buy a computer, it's just going to make my business so much better. What they didn't realise was, no, it's what you put in and what you get is what you get out of it. So I got a big kick out of working with salons, helping them put this information in. And it was simple things like, when you're entering a database, put a capital at the start of their name when you're putting someone in the database for the first time, because that's where you're going to get that information when you want to write them a letter or send them an email. And just little things like, you start emailing them and you've got all lowercase in their name, it just doesn't polish the result that you're trying to get. So my introduction to computers was doing that. And I just felt that this was something that was going to grow and going to really revolutionise the businesses that I was dealing with. Now, some people may not say it's fortunate, but back in the mid-80s, early 90s, there was a lot of arson attacks against hairdressing supply companies. And in Sydney, one of the major companies we dealt with was a company called Matrix. Now, Matrix were a very revolutionary company at the time also. They would only sell to salons. They were very proactive in education and things like that, and that's why we gravitated towards them. And they also were the company that financed Shortcuts to grow to where it was. But they were approached by a wholesaler in Sydney who really wanted to sell their product, and they wouldn't sell through wholesalers, so his result was to burn them down. And while it was tragic and terrible, and we were on commission, so the day that they burnt down, you imagine waking up and looking, and I don't think it was Koshy back then, but you're watching the news and there's your supplier being destroyed by fire. It was a big wake-up call. So we decided that we weren't going to rely on that anymore. So we couldn't. So we got heavily into the computer side of things, and we're out there promoting that and really enjoying it. Now that was great. That went on for a couple of years, and then the company decided that they would have an in-house team. Like, we were what they called resellers, so we were out there, buying and selling on their behalf. So they decided to have an in-house team and stop us from having access to it. So I thought, well, hang on, this isn't good for me. But what I was doing in the hair salons, I really felt was something could be shared with any small business. It didn't matter what you were selling or what you were doing. The end result was we're all trying to do the same thing at the end of the day. So I decided that I would take that knowledge and implement it to other businesses, and that sort of was the start of what we're doing today. We're called My Local IT Guy, and the two key things there is that we're local, and IT is what we specialise in. But as Brad said at the opening there, we speak the language of the people we deal with. We don't try and baffle you, or we don't try and take ownership of what you're doing. IT can be very confusing, but we try and present it and work with you in a way that helps you grow with what you do. A good friend of mine once introduced me to the saying, give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, feed him for a lifetime. And that is something that we try and embody in our business approach, because the more I can show people how to do something, there's plenty more things to show them. There's plenty more things to introduce them to. I don't want to get hung up on just doing the same thing over and over, because that doesn't help them grow, doesn't help us grow. So we really take on board that analogy of helping people to help themselves. The other thing that I found very important since getting involved with other businesses is relationships. We value the relationship we have with our clients. We're at a point now, we're not looking for more clients. We don't, I'm sorry, close your ears, we don't advertise, we don't heavily market what we do. And it's not because I don't agree with it, but we're just simply busy doing what we're doing now. And I feel that with the base of clients that we've got, we really just have so much more to do with them. I don't want to just keep moving on to the next thing and leaving things half cooked as we go. So we've sort of built up to a point, and now I'm almost in a way wanting to go backwards a little bit to work with those people and do more with them and appreciate the fact that they've helped us to get to where we are. And to do that, listening and not so much talking is a big part of what we do with our clients, because they know what they want. They may not know how to get it, they may not know where to look for it, but if we listen to them, that enables us to be able to perhaps tailor an idea or a suggestion, and if we don't know how, find someone that can help them with what it is. So it might be, we don't do websites, we don't do apps, there's a lot of things that we don't do, but they're in the realm of what we do. So we try and help people find other people to do the things and work with them on that way. The other thing that we try and do in our business is have fun. I think that's a very important thing, because business can be very lonely when you're an individual business owner. You often feel you're in it on your own. Now, I'm very fortunate to have my wife as a support mechanism for me, and there's only so many times I can whinge and complain to her, and the dogs stop listening, so it can be very lonely. So I try and have fun and enjoy what I do at work, but also don't be afraid to ask for help. Okay, there is so many things out there. Now everyone's different, we've all got different approaches. I have a very, I don't know if that's the right word, but an empathetic approach to what I do with my clients. I listen, I take on board, I try and work with them. I don't try and go down a big, hey, we're the biggest and best and we can do all this. Let's just find out what you need and we'll work with you. But when it comes to your own support, there's people out there that can help you. There's everything from the chamber through to coaching, through to your doctor. Okay, I've gone through a fairly interesting medical journey of recent years, we'll say, with diabetes and not realising how impactful that can be on your life with stress and all the other things that you take on board. Your personal health is something that you really need to be aware of. And if you don't, it's going to get you in the end. It will anyway, but at the end of the day, you've got to take on board, there's a period where you're hammer and tong. You're in there, I was, 24-hour days sometimes, just trying to get it done. It's a realisation that at the end of the day, you're not doing it to kill yourself. You're doing it to support your family, to support your staff, to support your clients, but most importantly, support yourself. And if you can maintain those things and take the steps, and I'm taking some steps in the near future to try and improve those things. A big one for me, as I say, was realising that I had the diabetes and what it was doing to me, and taking it seriously and addressing it and moving forward. Okay, that's probably, I thought this was going to be a panel, not a wedding speech. But
that bit's coming.
That's coming, okay. What, the wedding speech? No, but look, thank you. I just want to share that, yes, it can be hard as a business owner sometimes. You do feel alone, but get out there, keep doing what you're doing, enjoy what you're doing, stop and reflect on what you're doing, and have a fat time. That's all I can really share. Thank you.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.